Hello. I know it's been a long time since I've added anything onto my YouTube channel, and one of the reasons is because, for the most part, I'm the most art. It's really weird. I'm not a morning person, although it's not morning now. It's I think around 12:30 or some such thing. Actually, maybe slightly. It doesn't matter the time. I really get bogged down on time and detail when it doesn't matter. But anyway, even though I'm not a morning person, I seem to be at my most articulate when I first wake up or get up. So, although I've been awake for quite a while, I think I woke up around 10. I was laying in bed just watching random things and thinking about things and all the rest of it. And I find that, again, I'm going to say my most articulate when I first wake up or get up. And so often what I do is my way of kind of dealing with, quote, stuff is I either talk to the wall, which I find very cathartic, um, or I make little recordings. And sometimes I do it because I think, oh, that's a really interesting topic. I'd like to research it more for my own education, or um, maybe I'd like to do a video and share it on YouTube. Um, and I never get round to it. And I don't know why. I would say part of it is disorganization. I'm still working at becoming an organized person. I aim to get there one day. Um, so anyway, the reason why I'm not on screen is because I'm still pretty much wiping the sleep from my eyes. I am showered and dressed, which is great. That's a good improvement. But I'm still kind of wiping the sleep from my eyes, and I thought, the world doesn't need to see me looking a little bit, worse for wear. So what I thought we'd do is we'd look at one of my newest additions to my crystal family. This is a hematoid quartz, and the color comes from the iron. And it's interesting that I'm not normally attracted to the reds or the oranges and yellows of crystals, but this caught my eye. I got it, when did I get it? June. It caught my eye. I was just so totally attracted to it. And it just caught my eye, and I thought, oh, I've got to ask about it. And when she relayed, the different qualities of it, which I have written down, I'm not. I will say I'm not good at retaining things sometimes, and I've got so many crystals, and I know little bits about them, but I'm not an expert. So, but anyway, the healing qualities and the support, what it's good for. It really resonated what I read. I mean, it's things like confidence and all that. But what struck me is it looks to me like how I imagine Mars, the planet. Now, in Western astrology, I'm a Aries sun, and I also have Mars in my Aries, and Mars is the planet of Aries. So it was interesting that I was very attracted to this, and I just thought, oh, I've got to have it. And it's lovely. It's very, very heavy. It's lovely. So I thought we will look at that today while I chat. And I am going to pause in a moment to go collect my cup of tea because I really need that to help me wake up. But as I say, I'm most articulate when I first wake up or get up. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and talk. And if it's good enough, I'm going to add it to YouTube. And maybe I'll get some prettier surroundings for next time. And this way I can talk, even though I might look a bit disheveled with, bed hair and all the rest of it. But at least I can share what I want to share. So all that said, I've spent nearly 4 minutes just waffling. What is it that I want to talk about? Well, what I woke up with this morning is a few things. It seems so I guess I consider myself lucky in some ways, lucky and unlucky. So I'm lucky in the sense that I don't have TV, so I don't watch TV. I don't see any news at all. I don't even watch it online. I've never really been interested in news. It's very funny. I remember as a teenager, my parents saying to me, "Oh, you'll want to watch this. One day you'll be interested in it." And do you know, I've never been interested in watching the news. Occasionally, I have watched it over my lifetime when I had a TV. Um, but I've never really been interested in news as a thing. Um, it's just very fascinating when I look back on my life and the things that I just naturally had no interest in. It now I'm connecting dots and thinking, well, that's why I had no interest in it. There's no truth in it. There's no integrity in it. So I don't watch TV or news. I don't watch news at all. Don't read papers. I don't listen. I don't talk to people, so don't gossip. There's no gossip. There's no rumor mill going on. The only thing, I have no social media other than Twitter, and I don't really delve too much into it. I don't like the word followers or following or followers. I hate the word, so I just say, well, friends. They're not really friends. I don't know any of these people, so they're just people that I've joined up with on Twitter. Um, my numbers are low. One of the reasons they're low is I will go through occasionally and delete people from the lists because I think, well, I don't really read your tweets anymore. I may as well delete you. And so my numbers list on Twitter is very low, and it's because, like I said, I go through every so often, at least I don't know, half a dozen times a year, and I think, right, today we're going to delete 100 people. Um, so, and what I feel about Twitter, certainly in modern time, it used to be fun. That's why when I joined, it was fun. So I joined up, I think 2010 or 11 or somewhere around then, and it was fun back then. There was people that you had a laugh with and you joke around with, and it was very lighthearted. But also, I could follow certain charitable things. There was certain causes that I liked, and they had a Twitter account, so I could watch what animals that they were rescuing and things like. So it was great, and I enjoyed it. But in the last few years, it's changed the dynamic, obviously, because there's a lot of chaos going on in the world, and so it has changed a lot, and it's not fun anymore. And I keep thinking, you got to get off this, Terry. It's just not fun. But there is an off button on my computer, and I do use it. And I'm finding I'm using it more and more as time goes on. So, what I also wanted to say as a side note is I think or I feel that Twitter it's a closed, what do I call it? It's an echo chamber. So I think because I've got I don't know how many people on the list now. I think it's like 600 people on my follower list or something, following list. Uh, and I don't see but a handful of people's tweets from the account. So it is an echo chamber. Otherwise, wouldn't I see everybody? I mean, granted, not everyone is probably active on there, but still, I would see a lot more than I'm getting. So I'm only seeing a very small percentage. So I think it is an echo chamber. I think it's been done on purpose. I think everybody is limited to what they can see, and when they share things, how far that's shared. I think unless you're part of the quote media that I think unless you're part of that where they call it I guess they see you as official word, official media, you're not going to get the reach. So, and it doesn't bother me. I don't care. It's just funny that it's an echo chamber, and I can post something, and it will get totally ignored. I'm used to it now. I mean, at first I thought, well, this is really weird. But this goes back a few years. And I just think, how weird is this? I can post something that's going on in my life, maybe some challenge or something that I'm dealing with. It's not really great or whatever, and nobody notices it. And then you post something frivolous and you get like 100 people making comments. It's very weird. So anyway, I think it's a very closed echo chamber. What we see, what we're exposed to, and also they put all this stuff in that they put in things that I'm not even interested in. I get lots of sport on my feed. Don't know why. But they're trying to promote it. I guess they're wanting you to be interested, and I see why. They're wanting to distract you. Twitter is like every other social media, as TV and everything. It's a distraction. They want you to be distracted. Okay, so I'm getting my no, it's not really information. I'm just getting a feel for what's going on through reading my Twitter feed. And then if something is of interest, then I might look into it further and read a bit more and maybe do some separate searches and all the rest of it. And I treat it very lightly. I don't really see that it's a place for very profound experiences. So what was I going to say? So one thing I wanted to remark on is that I don't know if you recall when you were a child, we certainly did this in school as a an exercise as playing a game called Chinese Whispers. where the teacher would say something to the kid in the first row, and then he would whisper it, and she would whisper it, and it would just go around the classroom until it got to the very back of the room. And then the teacher would say, well, what was the message? So the message could have started out as Jack and Jill went up the hill, and the last person that got it might have said, um, you know, Jack's been ill and he's taken a pill. I mean, I'm just making this up, right? As I'm going along. So it shows it's an example of how gossip works, and it is true to say that is how gossip works in the real world. Is someone and it may just be someone has a feeling about something. They may not have facts about it. They may just have a feeling about something. And someone may be triggered by a report. They might see something and they're triggered because of their own personal experience and their own life. And so they might slightly blow it up and change it and alter it based on their version of reality and their version of events, or you know what I mean, their own traumas or experiences, and then it just gets passed around and people add to it, and it can create a basically a mountain out of a molehill. um, and so it is that exercise is a true example of how media works and how human natures, and we're wired like this. It's almost as if the ones that created this planet or created humans or whatever. I don't know the history. I mean, I hear lots of things, and I can say what feels right and doesn't feel right, but I don't know the truth. And as I say to people, I can tell you what I feel is true, but I don't know it's true. I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing, but yet I know everything. Then what I mean by that is the human me knows nothing, but I know that I have within me or around me is my soul, and my soul knows everything. Um, and so, unless I've gotten to the point, unless I see it or experience it myself, I probably am not going to believe it. Or I might just think, okay, there might be some truth in that. Let's just park it until I have a chance to do some more reading or research. Um, but I would say whoever kind of created or coached the human race, they know how we work. And they know about the rumor mill. They know how we like to gossip, and we do. We like to gossip. We like to tattle. Um, it's interesting that it seems to be something that connects people. I've worked in enough. I mean, I'm an old lady now, so I've worked in many places. I've been around many people in my lifetime, and it's interesting that when people have something to gossip about, especially if it's another group of person or another person or whoever, it seems to bring people together because all of a sudden they've got that common bond, and it is we are going to talk bad about that group over there, and it is just part of human nature. It's a sad part of human nature, but it's a part of human nature. And it's interesting that in our day, not just our day and age, but as humans as we are, we we're not good at saying positive things or nice things about people, but it's almost like it's okay to say negative things. It's really weird. I try and give people compliments when I'm out and about, and genuine. I'm not gonna say something I don't truly mean, but I'm always looking for something to say to somebody. So let's say I go to the supermarket, I'm at the till, and I notice the woman there's got gorgeous nails, and I'll say, "Oh, I love your nail color. It's absolutely beautiful." And it's interesting whenever I do this to whomever in the world, I get different reactions. Some people are really some people are surprised and they don't know what to say. Some people treat me with suspicion. Some people are they seem very grateful that you've noticed them in some way. And for some people, it's like that icebreaker that they then want to have a chat about some other things. So it's interesting how people's reaction is to it, and it's because we are programmed, um, indoctrinated, whatever you want to call it. That it's okay to speak badly of someone but not well of someone, and it's true, we do. um, I had a conversation with someone last week, and she said to me, a question we don't tend to ask, but we should be asking people is, why are you friends with me? And I thought that's a really good question, because people are good, they're happy to trash you or point out your flaws and all the rest of it, but people don't often say what they like about you or compliment you, or it is a very weird world that we live in. Now, if I can pause it, I will, because I need my tea. I do need my tea. So let me see if I can figure this thingy out. One sec. And I'm back in the room. And now you have to look at my cup of tea as well. See, I need that big cup of tea. Look how big that is. Okay, so another thing I noticed I'm doing. I've talked for 15 minutes. I've not really said a whole lot. And I have a tendency to waffle a lot. And I have a tendency to go off on tangents. And there's a lot of umming and ahhing. But I just thought, rather than trying to do something perfect and well edited, I'm just going to do this. And if people want to sit and listen, great. If they don't, that's fine. I just feel like I'm sharing with the world, and that's all I want to do. Okay, so back to the topic at hand, because when I went to get my tea, I thought, Terry, you're getting off topic. Let's get back on topic. So what I wanted to talk about, which struck me this morning as I woke up and was kind of looking at social media to get a feel of what everyone is afraid of today, because it changes, is I, okay, so what I've noticed is we are all looking in some way for a savior. And I can understand why, because we have been trained from birth by the system to be dependent on the system in some way. So the education system doesn't teach us how to think, it just teaches how to regurgitate information. And in a way, we've never grown up. So it's much like your dog. So if you've ever had a dog, um, once, because the way that humans look after dogs, so dogs aren't, they're a companion, true, but they're not an independent. They, in a way, they're within your pack. You're the pack leader, and they rely on you completely. If your dog got lost in the forest for a couple of days, it would probably really struggle to survive. I mean, it probably would for a couple of days, but it would probably struggle because it doesn't know how to hunt. It doesn't know how to find food or water or shelter or anything. So it would just do the best it could do because it's so used to having its human leader doing everything for it. So, a dog never really grows up from pup stage because you bring it food, you bring it water, you bring it everything, the comfort, the home, the bed. It doesn't know how to survive. And humans are much like the same. We are, in a way, we are the pet of whoever is controlling uh, this realm. And so we are the same. We've been indoctrinated from birth, and it's all on purpose in order for us to be obedient worker bees, but not to think outside the box and want to be too independent and you know, not to have real knowledge of how to survive on our own. And so I get it. We're all in some way looking for a savior, and it goes to various degrees. So you have the people who think someone in the political realm is going to be their savior and they want to align with this person or that person. There are people out there who think people who are dead are not dead but alive and they're coming to save them. There's a lot of people who are aligning with people who are multimillionaires, billionaires, famous people, and again, they all think these people are coming to save them. So I look at certain accounts and I'll think, okay, I'm curious, why are people following this account? What are they getting out of it? And then I'll read comments in that, and there's a lot of, what should we do next? And should we do this? Should we buy this? Should we go here? There's a lot of this kind of unsure unsuredness in people. And they are looking for a savior. They're looking for someone to solve the problem. And I get it. This is how we've been trained. And it is hard to remove ourselves from the training. And we're all like that. Um, I was probably indoctrinated. I wouldn't say I can't compare myself to anyone else. It's apples and oranges. But I picked the most indoctrinated kind of existence because not only was I born into this system, which indoctrinates you anyway, but I was born into a military family, which is even more indoctrination. And I was literally called my whole childhood up until the point that I got a divorce because I was what they call a military brat. So I was the child of a military member. And then I went on to marry a military member. So until my divorce, I was always called a dependent. So I was a dependent child growing up, and I was a dependent wife in my 20s and 30s and 40s. So I get it. I get the indoctrination, and I get how, and certainly growing up in the military, they do everything for you. You basically, as a member, you sign yourself away. A military base is a independent community. It can survive on its own. This is what I grew up in, so I know a lot about it. It can survive on its own. They have every single thing you would want. They have all the businesses that you would have in normal outside life, which we would call civilian or um, we would just say off base. So you're either on base or you're off base, and it's just very weird because everything is there. It's completely it is a complete organism on itself. It can survive on its own. Um, and so yeah, so this is the life I picked. Very indoctrinated in that, and you don't have to do anything. So as a military member, whether it be my dad I'm looking at, or my husband, my ex-husband, or whoever I met during my lifetime who was in the military, uh, everything's provided for you and your family. So you need housing, they get you housing. You get a decent wage. When my dad joined, that wasn't a decent wage. My dad always worked two jobs when I was a kid. So he had his military job in the daytime, and he worked part-time jobs to make ends meet because the pay back then was not good. And we were very, well, I wouldn't say we were poor, but I wore hand-me-downs, and we didn't have a lot. We really didn't have a lot. There was a lot of make do and mend kind of situations. We had a garden where we grew some of our own food, and um, but we weren't homeless, and there was always food on the table, even if it was very uh, just very basic meals. So, so yeah, so in the military, you do your job, whatever it is your job is, whatever area that you are. You might be a mechanic, you might be an office worker, you might be a pilot, whatever it is you do, that's your job, and all the peripheral stuff is provided for you. So it's similar to the civilian world. However, in the civilian world, you have to be slightly more independent because if I have a problem with my house in any way, I don't just call one office and they come sort it. So it has been a learning curve for me, and it is. I still struggle at times because we are. I grew up in a system that doesn't train you to become independent; it trains you to stay into that. Um, so my general feeling is, like I said, scrolling through social media, which is just Twitter, as I said. Everyone's looking for a savior to some extent, and the reality is, the answer is so simple because all you got to do is look in the mirror, and that's your savior. That's it. And it is scary. It's scary thinking I've got to navigate life on my own, but it is the truth. We do navigate it on our own. Hopefully, people have people around them by way of friends and family and some sort of support system. Maybe you have a really good electrician, a really good plumber, so you have some support there. Um, but essentially, the only person that's going to save us from anything is ourselves. And it's interesting because people keep, I see a lot of comments on social media, people saying, I can't wait for arrests to happen and I can't wait for this to happen. I'm thinking, but you've got to do all this. It's not, someone else is not going to do it. There may be some good people out there, and I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush. There might be some really good people out there working behind the scenes, and I think there are. But I don't think you're going to find it in the rich people, and I don't think you're going to find it in the celebrities, and I don't think you're going to find it in the influencers. I just don't feel it. Um, and and I think, oh, I don't know. See, I've just lost my train of thought. I told you I'm getting old, so I do lose my train of thought. I was more articulate in the shower. That's my best time. I sit there and talk to the wall and think, oh my gosh, this stuff is so enlightening. Um, but I'm on my own trip, and I realize that I'm the only one that can save myself, but I still do look for answers by way of other people. I get certain healing treatments from various people, whether it be reflexology and energy healing and acupuncture, and all sorts of things that help me support my physical body because I'm still on a healing journey from being ill a couple of years ago. Um, and I do look for answers from them. I'm feeling this. What would you advise? What should I read? What should I look at? So I'm looking for someone in effect to save me, but not directly, but you know what I mean. So So I do look for other people to help me, and I certainly on my spiritual journey, I will admit that I do ask energy healers and spiritual mentors and things like that for advice and help because I feel really lost. I feel lost like I did when my ex left and there was just that no support system anymore. And I had to kind of figure it out. And I'm still figuring it out many years later. He's been gone many years and I'm still trying to figure it out. And it's still scary at times. But I know that I'm the only one that can fix me, support me, save me. It's really sad because I kind of want to just reassure everybody individually when I see all these posts of hope. You know, I hope this happens, and I hope they get arrested, and I hope this is, and I hope that is. And when do you think this is going to happen? And oh, yay, they're still alive, and all of these things. And I just really want to give every single person an individual hug and say, do you know what? You can do this, and it's got to be you. Anyway, I realize now I'm waffling. I was more articulate in the shower. Should have took the computer in there, although there was that, water electricity situation going on. But I'm going to shut up now because I've talked way long enough and my tea's getting cold and I want to try and post this. Thanks for listening. Namaste.